Welcome, sir.
Welcome, Dr. Ramanan.
Our Vice Chancellor is also available, sir. Professor, Vice Chancellor, sir, our distinguished speaker has joined the session.
Very good. Welcome, Dr. Ramanathan. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Yes.
Thank you so
Sir,
much.
shall we start, sir? Shall we start?
Yes, please start.
You can start, yeah.
Yeah. A very good afternoon to all. I, Dr. Charumati, HOD of Department of Management Studies, on behalf of the Pondicherry University and on my own behalf, welcome everyone for the Pondicherry University Foundation Day lecture by the most distinguished and accomplished personality. Let us start the program with our university anthem. University anthem, please. Mr. Arivali, University anthem, please.
Vanga Tamasoma Jodil Gramaya Puliparava Puduvai Pudumaye Potruvom Puduvai Palgalai Kadagame Unai Vartuvom Vanga Kadalalai Thalaattum Jnana Churiyan Udikkumidam
இது எங்கள் புதுநெறி காட்டும் உலகம் எந்நாளும் அறிவு தேடல் தொடரும் அறிவூற்றை பொழியும் ஆசிரியர் அதில் தினமும் நனையும் மாணவர்கள்
இதிலன்று புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகம் அறிவின் தாகம் தனியும் சோலை அகில போற்றும் கல்வி சாலை மனித வளவே என்று முயல புனித சேவை தொடருதே பல்கலைக்கழகம் என்றும் வளர்ந்திட நாமும் வழிபடுவோம் கல்வி சேவைகள் யாவும் காலமும் தொடர்ந்திட நாளும் வேண்டிடுவோம் புதுவை புதுமையே போற்றுவோம்
புதுவை பல்கலைக்கழகமே உன்னை வாழ்த்துவோம்.
Thank you. The most Honorable Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University, Professor Gurmeet Singh, the most respected Dr. Ramanan Ramanathan Ji, Director, Atal Innovation Vision and Additional Secretary, Niti Aayog, New Delhi, respected Directors, Professor Balakrishnan, Professor Rajiv Jain Ji, Professor Devi Prasad, Coordinator of the Distinguished Lecture Series, Pondicherry University, Deans, HODs, faculty colleagues, research scholars, students, staff, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the most auspicious day for the Pondicherry University, being its foundation day. Our university was established as one of the central universities on October 16, 1985 by an act of parliament. And since then, it has shown a tremendous commitment to innovation and to serving the needs of the nation. The university takes pride in having established strong industry-focused teaching programs and cutting-edge research. The university has grown in leaps and bounds in terms of number of campuses, number of schools, number of departments, number of centers, number of students, number of faculty, number of administrative staff, number of research scholars, number of international and national MOUs, number of foreign students, number of facilities, number of publications, and number of patents, number of research projects, and number of achievements, besides having the credit of establishing first credit system in the country. Our university caters to 75,000 plus students through its affiliation system, including medical, dental, law, education, arts and science colleges. Now we have the state-of-the-art laboratories and facilities, along with the most established Directorate of Distance Education and Human Resource Development Center. We all need someone who inspires us to do better than we know how. Here we know if we have two brilliant minds and accomplished stalwarts one in the field of academia and the other in the field of corporate and government. Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Gurmeet Singh, is a renowned academic administrator and an internationally reputed expert in the field of corrosion science and smart materials. He has been on high-level committees and won several awards and acclaims internationally and nationally. He is far excellent researcher with the experience of handling many major research projects, and he is one of the high-side professors in his field. He is known for his open and transparent communication and bold decisions and for his innovative leadership. He promotes innovation in teaching, research, and administration. Under his stewardship, we are seeing a big future for our university. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower, says Steve Jobs. Our distinguished speaker of today, Dr. Ramanan Ramanathan ji, is a very important person at the helm of Niti Aayog, think tank of Government of India. He is the Mission Director of Atal Innovation Mission, a flagship national innovation initiative of the Prime Minister and the government. Promote government profession was twice from the business world. Now he is the known face for all the young Indians who aspire to become innovators and entrepreneurs, and his initiatives in establishing Atal Tinkering Labs, Atal Innovation Centers, Atal Community Innovation Centers, and initiatives like Responsible AI for Social Empowerment Arise and Atal New India Challenge have changed the landscape of innovation and startup ecosystem in India. Many got inspired by his inimitable interactions. Today morning, our Honorable Vice Chancellor launched the state-of-the-art video conferencing facility in our School of Management to prepare our university for Education 4.0, and our distinguished speaker launched the India-Australia Circular Economy Hackathon to promote international startup ecosystem. Innovation is seeing what everybody has seen and thinking what nobody has thought. Albert St. George. With these few words, I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ramanan Ramanathan ji. Sir, please.
Thank you, Professor Charumati, for very kind words about me. And I deem it a great honor to very warmly welcome Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan, who's a great corporator, I'll say. Though by profession he's an electrical engineer, but the way he has performed all over, I think it should be a lesson not only for the engineers, but I think all over in the universities and for all entrepreneurs, the way he has shown progress in all ventures. If I only look at the performance of TCS under his stewardship, I think it is amazing. Well, before I talk about that, let me start by greeting everybody on this very auspicious day of our Founders Day occasion. The two directors who have been here, Dr. Devi Prasad, the Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Charumati, the head here, and Dr. Ramanathan. Let me greet everybody because Founders Day is a great day in the life of an institution. Our university cannot be termed as a very old institution, having started in 85. This much period is no period in the growth of an institution. But then the kind of progress that we have made, I feel one should get fair bit of satisfaction on whatever we have achieved so far. Now I was talking about Mr. Ramanathan's performance and why there could have been no better person than him for this occasion. You know, whenever we look at any organization and we say that the share of this particular company grew under so-and-so's leadership by 100%, we look at with a kind of awe that, oh, what a remarkable performance he's done. And if somebody says 400%, 500%, 800%, well, you know, you keep on getting surprises. Well, such a remarkable performance can be there. And when I was looking through his profile, everything grew in terms of thousands. 1,500%, 1,800%, something which is unimaginable, unthinkable in the present day scenario. And that's the person Mr. Ramanathan is. And rightly so, let me tell you, our government of India is always on the lookout for bright minds. And Ramanathan Saab was picked up for this venture of Niti Aayog, where he's looking at the Atal Innovation Center. Now, there also, when we look at what he has done, it's not in terms of 10 or 20 or 30 or 50. It runs into 101, 200 of this kind of innovative institutions. So there also, his performance have been a superlative one. So I extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Ramanathan. And then not only for this occasion, let me also request him that whenever our departments require his guidance and his motivation, I'm sure he will be always ready to render that assistance for our institution. So thank you so very much, Mr. Ramanathan. I know you have been a very, very busy person. And for a person of the kind of a performer that you are, to spare this time is a very valuable, appreciative thing for all of us. I'm so very grateful to you. And I'm sure that your presentation here will go a long way in motivating all our faculty members, all our researchers, and all the young, bright minds that we have here in our campus. I've always been saying that one of the biggest plus points of Pondicherry University is that it has a lush green campus, a very serene and wonderful academic atmosphere. The kind of a solace one looks for, you get it in this campus. And above all, the moment you enter the boundaries of Pondicherry city, some kind of a positivity sets in. So a university to be there in such a positive atmosphere, which is very good, very clean, very spiritual, I think nothing better one can ask for. And then to have Mr. Ramanathan to motivate us on our Founders Day, I think nothing better can be there. So I am so very grateful to you. With the hope that in future too we'll have your suggestions and guidance. I welcome Mr. Ramanathan and invite him for this very important event where he'll be addressing all of us. I'm sure you are very keenly looking forward to his address. So I will not stand in between you and Mr. Ramanathan because we are all very keenly waiting for his talk. So all yours, Mr. Ramanathan, with a word of big thanks from my side. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, respected Gurmeet Singh Ji, Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University. Thank you, Professor Charumati, Dr. Devi Prasad, all the distinguished faculty who have assembled there for this particular day, which is a very auspicious day, as both the Honorable Vice Chancellor said, as well as Dr. Charumati said. Foundation Day of any particular institution is a day when it gives us a chance not only to be able to be very proud of what the institution has achieved over the years, and you have achieved so many things over the years. I'm amazed at the list of accomplishments that was just read out by Dr. Charumati, and you have grown to be a university where over 75,000 students today are able to enjoy and learn at your university about various disciplines, all the multiple disciplines that you have, which is so very important for a growing economy like India, for a country which is 1.3 billion people and whose population depends upon its demographic dividend, as they call. We have a demographic dividend which is the envy of many a country. We have more than 150 million young students like you who are entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. And the entire nation is actually dependent upon what you are able to dream about this country. The new India of your dreams is going to be the hope on which 1.3 billion people are going to ride. So it gives me tremendous pleasure, and I feel it is a privilege to be able to attend your Foundation Day, to share some thoughts with you on this very important day. And it's a very important day, not only from a university point of view, but it is also a very important day from all the faculty and the mentors and the teachers and the principal, the vice chancellor, who are seeing how we can take the institution forward in order to make an impact, not only to our nation, but to the world. Because after all, our young Indians are going everywhere across the world. We have a Satya Nadella heading Microsoft, a Sundar Pichai heading Google. You have a Shantanu Narayan heading Adobe. You have Kalpana Chawla, who was the first woman in space from India. Anywhere the Indians go, they have made their mark. Today we have Arvind Krishna at the head of IBM. We have the new dean of the Harvard Business School, who has again been elected as an Indian. So we have them shining everywhere, wherever there is an opportunity for them to shine and to be able to realize their full potential. And an institution helps in every one of you young students in being able to realize your full potential. That is what an institution is for. That is where the Pondicherry University's area of focus has always been. And therefore, it is important for all of us to reflect what is possible in these apparently very difficult times today, the COVID-19 times. But what are the challenges? More importantly, what are the opportunities that are available to you as you go forward? Like I said, the world as well as India is dependent upon what you do. You are going to be the architects of future India. You're going to be the new innovators who are going to drive new solutions, new services, not only in India, but across the world. You are the people who are going to reimagine what new India and the world looks like, because you have a number of things going for you. You are in a country which is 1.3 billion people. We have the demographic dividend. You represent that youthful energy, that energy which many countries lack. And they are looking forward to such youthful energy that can be there in their own nation. You represent that youthful energy. You represent that exuberance and the enthusiasm of people who do not know how to take something as not possible. For you, everything is possible. We need that sort of energy, that sort of force in order to be able to achieve not only what India needs, but what the world needs. So my dear friends, you are all in a sweet spot today. Sweeter spot than most of us who grow up, than me, myself, when I was growing up. I did not have the luxury of all the things that you have today. So how are you going to ensure that you take all these things that have been offered to you? A fast rising economy, one of the fastest rising economies of the world. India has been growing at 7 to 8% over the last couple of years, barring this COVID-19 crisis. We have the demographic dividend, which I said is the youthful energy representing the nation. We are also living in a world where technology is changing the very shape of the world, the way that you are experiencing the world, and the way the world is experiencing you. You are living in a world where you are able to reimagine the new world because of the advent and the advancement of technology. 3D printing is revolutionizing the way you can design, conceptualize, manufacture products right in front of your eyes. Not you have to go to a large manufacturing plant. Robotics is driving the next level of automation. Internet of Things is enabling sensor technologies to get integrated into man, machine, device, plant, into everything conceivable, and be able to create data which is enabling decision making real time, and which can be applied in every application, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in healthcare, whether it is in education, whether it is in transportation, whether it is in waste management, whether it is in water management, and so on. You are living in a world where technology is becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. And you are studying in an institution like Pondicherry University, which is enabling you and empowering you with the knowledge through faculty and through various resources they have made available at your disposal. So my dear friends, you are luckier than most. We are a country with 1.3 billion people, where 22% of the people are still below the poverty line. We have 44% of our country agri-economy based. We have over 600,000 villages in our country. We have 715 districts, out of which 115 districts are aspirational districts, which means they are at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of access to basic healthcare, basic education, affordable housing, clean drinking water, clean sanitation. They have problems of acquiring jobs. We have 4,800 towns and small cities in our country, but we have only 8 tier 1 cities. And there is a huge migration happening from the rural parts of our country, from the hilly coastal districts, from tier 2, tier 3 cities into the 8 tier 1 cities. This is not a sustainable atmosphere or an environment for the growth of a nation. But in the midst of all of this, we are having one of the finest and most innovative nations of our world. We have risen from a position of 81 in 2015 to a position of 48 in the Global Innovation Index. Now, that's not a small achievement. That's a fantastic achievement. We have jumped through just in the matter of 5 years, we have advanced to become one of the top 50 most innovative nations of the world. And for a country of our size, and with only 250 to 300 million people out of the 1.3 billion people who are in the middle class and a rising middle class economy, this is a fantastic achievement. But there is more in store for our country. And therefore, you, my dear friends, and my young students are going to be the architects of this new future to propel our country forward into a land of progress and prosperity, into a land of well-being and wellness, into a land of societal good, because we enjoy what no other country also enjoys of a similar size. We are the largest democracies in the world. And a democratic country which enables its people, empowers its people, allows its people freedom of thought, deed, and action. That is what is going to spur the growth of a country. And therefore, innovation and entrepreneurship occupies center stage in whatever we want to do. You, my dear young students who have had the opportunity to study in a great institution like Pondicherry University, who have had great schooling, have to become part of the innovation bandwagon. You have to become the innovators of the future. You have to become the nation's job creators, not just job seekers. There are many job seekers out there in the country whom we have to enable. But you, my dear young students, you have the potential, you have the background, you have the education, and you have the opportunity to become the next job creator that India needs. We need to become a nation of job creators and not just job seekers. And that is why the Atal Innovation Mission was formed about 3 years ago. The Honorable Prime Minister said that we need to become one of the most innovative nations of the world, but that can only happen if we create a culture of innovation permeating every aspect of our country, from our schools, universities, industry, in every district, in every state, in every part of the government, and in every part of the corporate industry. And we also, the second part is we need to create that ecosystem where entrepreneurs and startups can thrive. And that is what Atal Innovation Mission has been doing. Through setting up thousands of Atal Tinkering Labs at the school level. Today, we have launched more than 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs at the school level, out of which 5,600 are fully operational, and 2.5 million students are experiencing the joys of innovation. We are changing the culture from a rote learning mindset to a problem-solving, innovative mindset. And that is what, my dear students, every one of you should aspire. Yes, universities allow you to learn and earn credits. They allow you to excel in academic excellence. And every one of us should do that. But that is not the end goal. The end goal is not just to rank, to get the highest rank in your class, go to a good university, get the highest ranks and highest marks in the university, go to another university abroad, and then again get good marks and join a job. That can be done by many. You have the opportunity instead to become a problem solver, an innovator, a job creator, a startup founder. And that is what you should aspire. This is also the month where some of the greatest sons of the nation were born. On October 2nd, we had Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. He said, be the change that you want to see. My dear friends, nothing is more important than being the change that you want to see. We don't want somebody else to create the change. You should be the change creator. You should be the change maker. And it is possible. You are a born innovator. Every one of us is a born innovator. When you were born, nobody taught you how to stand, but you stood, you looked at the world around you, you saw that everybody was standing and walking and running. You stood up, you fell down. You stood up again, you fell down. But every time you stood up, you innovated. And when you innovated, you learned how to balance yourself. You learned how to walk fast. You learned how to run. You started participating in running competitions. You started winning national events. And some of you will go on to win Olympic events like Usain Bolt. Every step, Usain Bolt has innovated along the way. Similarly, you didn't know how to speak. You just watched the world as a baby. Nobody could speak to you because they didn't understand your language. You didn't understand their language. But you saw sounds coming out from people's lips. You saw their lips moving. You put two and two together. You started imitating them. And then you innovated and you started speaking. And now nobody can stop you from speaking. So that, my dear friends, is the power of innovation that has always been there in everything that you do. But somewhere along the line, as we grow up, we start limiting ourselves. We start thinking that we cannot be innovators, and innovation and entrepreneurship and startups is somebody else's possibility. It is not a possibility for me. But as the great Abdul Kalam, whose birth anniversary was yesterday, said, dream big and you'll achieve great things. Dream small and you'll be limited by your own dreams. He came from a small, humble town of Rameshwaram, a town which is known more for its temples than for anything else, a town which has more fishing boats than even buses or cars or cycles. But from such a town came one of the finest scientists the world has ever seen. From such a town came one of the finest human beings who rose on to become the president of this country. And he said, dream and you shall achieve great things. So that, my friends, is the first thing. Aspiration. Aspire to leave a ding in the universe, as Steve Jobs said. Steve Jobs said we should all leave a ding in the universe. Now, what does leaving a ding in the universe mean? It means do something which is having a greater purpose than just satisfying your own needs. In that fulfilling of that purpose, your own needs will be fulfilled amply. You don't have to worry about that. That will always happen. But when you fill yourself with a larger purpose of contributing to the world through your presence in the world, you don't want to be just an also ran in a race. You want to be someone who contributed. And therefore, my dear friends, you have to dream big. Second, and you have to aspire. Aspiration is very important. John F. Kennedy, in his famous speech, said, we will put a man on the moon in the 1960s. Now, remember, at that time, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have IoT. We didn't have artificial intelligence. We didn't have computing technology. But he said, we'll put a man on the moon. And that dream galvanized an entire nation of scientists, researchers, innovators, youngsters like you, who said, yes, we will achieve this in this decade. Not only did he say we'll put a man on the moon, but he gave a time frame. And he said, we'll put them in this decade. And indeed they did. That's the power of a great dream. So first of all, my dear friends, and my young students, you should dream big. You should aspire to make a dent in the universe. You should aspire to leave a ding, as Steve Jobs called. Secondly, you should have tremendous belief in yourself. It is strong belief in oneself that can lead one to the next step. Swami Vivekananda said, if you have a belief in 1,000 gods and goddesses, but do not have belief in yourself, you're doomed. So we need to have extraordinary belief in oneself. Faith. And it is faith that can move mountains, he said. And that is what you should have. And these are not idle words. These are words that fill you with meaning. These are words that inspire you to do your best. These are words that will ensure that you are not intimidated by any obstacle or any failure in your path, because you know you can overcome it. Obama said, yes, you can. That yes, you can means he was a black man. No black person had become the president of America, but he did. How was that? Because he had extraordinary belief in himself. So first, you should have an aspiration. Second, you should have a belief. The third is what you need is commitment. You can have belief, you can have aspiration, but if you don't have commitment to your purpose, whatever be your dream, it doesn't matter. You know, you are living fortunately in a world today that any field you take, whether it is agriculture, whether it is writing, whether it is poetry, whether it is engineering, whether it is a doctor, whether you want to become a bioscientist, whether you want to be just an explorer, you want to be a scientific explorer, you want to be a geographic explorer, it doesn't matter. Every field has a potential for you to reach the highest level. And every field is recognized in the world as being very important. A study of history is as important as a study of geography and a study of science and engineering. So you have that opportunity to excel in any field that you take, but you should have the commitment. Commitment leads to action. Action is necessary for your ability to be transformed into something that your aspiration wants to achieve. Without an action plan, you will not achieve anything. And therefore, it is very important for you to be able to have that sort of commitment. And when you have that sort of commitment, it leads on to the next thing, which is discipline. You need extraordinary discipline in your life to be able to achieve many things. Genius is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. Sachin Tendulkar has not reached where he reached just because he was a genius. He practiced every day. He used to go to the nets early in the morning, get up at 5 o'clock and practice for 6 to 7 hours, then take some rest, again go back in the evening to the nets and practice for 6 to 7 hours. That was how he retained his genius. So genius requires that discipline. Like I said, it is 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. And that calls for a tremendous amount of discipline. And discipline leads on to excellence. So excellence is something that you should search for in everything that you do. Whether you write an email, whether you speak to your friend, whether you are conversing with your colleague, whether you are doing an engineering drawing or you are producing an artifact or a prototype, excellence should become a habit. Aristotle said, excellence should not be an act. It should become a habit. And every one of you should acquire that search for excellence, that passion for excellence, because it is that passion for excellence which leads to continuous improvement, which leads to raising the bar every time, which leads you to beating yourself. You don't have to compete with others. You just have to become a better person every day than what you were the previous day. That is what a search for excellence means. And my dear students and friends, this passion for excellence should be there throughout your life. And then, like I said, every one of you should aspire to become an entrepreneur. So if you become an entrepreneur, you are creating something new. You're not just doing something that somebody has done. You're looking at the problems of life that are surrounding you. Today, we are living in a COVID-19 world where a simple virus has paralyzed entire nations. It has disrupted supply chains. It has created grievous loss to lives and livelihoods. It has created a fear of uncertainty as to how long this COVID-19 is going to last. It has created also a sense of what will happen after COVID-19. You have a whole lot of challenges that have sprung up in the wake of COVID-19. You have suddenly realized the fragility of supply chains that are existing in the world. But at the same time, COVID-19 has revealed certain things to every one of us. It has revealed the power of digital technology. Because of that, today you and I are conversing and having this Foundation Day lecture, even though I am not able to physically visit your beautiful campus. It would have been wonderful for me to visit your campus and actually be there with every one of you. However, digital technology has enabled us to bridge that gap and for us to be able to have this conversation on your Foundation Day. And technology is changing the way, like I said, that the world is experiencing you and the way that you are experiencing the world. So you have also, in all the midst of these challenges, new opportunities. And that is the opportunity for entrepreneurship. India has 1 billion people with 1 million challenges. But 1 million challenges are 1 million opportunities for India to innovate on and become entrepreneurs in. And that, my dear friends, is the wonderful opportunity that is there in front of you. And this is why Atal Innovation Mission has been launching hundreds of incubators, fostering thousands of startups. Just in the last 2 years, we have selected over 102 incubators across the country, 70 of which are fully operational, and more than 1,500 startups are now created in the ecosystem. That's an amazing thing, to have 1,500 startups just in the last 2 years. And they're all deep tech startups, working on 3D printing, on robotics, on augmented virtual reality, on precision agriculture, on health tech, on biotech, in transportation systems, in electric vehicles, in affordable housing and smart cities, and so on. They are using artificial intelligence, which has become possible today. And why has artificial intelligence become possible today? Because of the convergence of computing, communication, and sensor technologies, all of which are coming together and enabling you to take data processing, data collection to a completely different level through software engineering technologies like big data and analytics and data mining and powerful algorithms of cognitive computing and nano computing and supercomputing. You are now able to not only gather data from various sources, but able to process and act on that data immediately. And that is giving rise to new solutions, whether it is using drone technologies, robotic technologies, or whether it is using artificial intelligence technologies. And so, my dear friends, all of this is leading you to an era of tremendous progress, tremendous innovation, tremendous entrepreneurship. And you have to seize the moment. And you have to become entrepreneurs. You have to become the startup founders and the job creators of tomorrow. And in this, I just want to conclude with the Honorable Prime Minister's clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. He, in a speech in May of this year, called for all of India to become an Atmanirbhar Bharat, to create an Atmanirbhar Bharat of your dreams. Now, what does an Atmanirbhar Bharat mean? It means a self-reliant India. It does not mean a selfish India. It does not become a nationalistic India. It becomes an India where everybody is able to stand on their own legs, be able to contribute not only to the good of the economy and the social progress of our country, but also to the progress of the world. It is a reliant India for the entire world. And the world can benefit because we are 1.3 billion people out of 7.8 billion people on our planet. Any solution that you develop for India is a solution for the rest of the world. And we have many, many challenges. We have 600,000 villages in our country. We have 4,800 plus towns and cities. We have 115 of the 715 districts aspirational. We have 22% of our country below the poverty line. So we need to face these challenges and do a tremendous amount of good to leverage the demographic dividend. But when he pointed out Atmanirbhar Bharat, he also gave us the way. He said there are 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And I just want to share them with you because they are the pillars that you can focus on from an innovation and an entrepreneurship point of view. The first pillar, he said, is the demographic dividend. We have talked enough about that. But what is the opportunity here? The opportunity here is in education technology, in edtech startups. You can be one of the several edtech startups that is going to enable education to reach every nook and corner of the country. Not just education, but it should be quality education. That is missing. We have 1.4 million schools. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges in our country. And we need every one of them to deliver quality education. So how are you going to combine digital technology, augmented reality, virtual reality, and collaborating technologies to drive the next level of education as has been conceived by the NEP 2020, the new education policy of 2020? You have a great opportunity there because we need to empower our people, empower the demographic dividend if you want to reap the fruits of a demographic dividend. The second pillar he had identified was a pillar of infrastructure. We need to ensure that every city, whether it is a rural district, coastal district, whether it is a tier 2, tier 3 city, whether it is rural India, they all benefit because of innovation. And that will happen only if we are able to set right both the physical infrastructure as well as the digital infrastructure. So we need to set up the physical infrastructure in all these places. We need smart cities, we need smart villages, we need smart districts, we need smart water management, we need smart electricity management, we need smart housing, we need smart waste management. We need all of these to come in our cities, in our villages, and at an affordable, available, accessible level. That means India can be the mother of frugal innovations. It can be the center where frugal innovations thrive and they can be spread to the rest of the world. The world is also looking for frugal innovations. And you need to supplement the physical infrastructure with the digital infrastructure so that you are connecting the tribal handicraft producing skillsman and the artisan to market their product from Sikkim to Seattle, from Salem to San Francisco. We need to be able to enable that, leveraging our digital technologies and the digital mile, extending the digital mile. The third pillar that he identified was a pillar of demand. We have 1.3 billion people. So we have tremendous demand. You don't have to look elsewhere for the demand. You don't need to go abroad and search for demand. You have demand here. We are a diverse country with diverse needs and diverse population. And if we are able to fulfill that demand, let me assure you that your demand will go global. That is why the Honorable Prime Minister said, be vocal for local so that you can then go global. Any solution that you find for India is a solution for the rest of the world. The fourth pillar he identified was the pillar of socio-economic progress. You need to bridge the social economic divide. You need to bridge the digital divide, the divide between the haves and the have-nots. And that is only possible when we have social innovation as much as we have commercially driven innovation. This is why the Atal Innovation Mission is setting up 100 of community innovation centers across the country. These community innovation centers will help to spur local innovation depending upon the local community needs of that particular district or that particular community, and also spur job creation in that particular community. For example, if you're in the city of Goa or in the city of Pondicherry, how do you encourage tourism industry? How do you encourage the fishing industry? How do you encourage, for example, the cashew nut industry in Goa or the mining industry in Goa, which is so rich in natural resources? How do you build the shipbuilding industry? So there are many industries which are local to that particular community. But we need innovation. And in a recent competition that I saw, somebody had come up with a robotic tree climbing device, which will automatically pluck the coconuts in a very safe manner. And through artificial intelligence, it will also detect which of these coconuts are ripe enough to be picked up and which are not. Now, that's the sort of technology that you all guys can innovate and create solutions, and thousands of people will be benefited because of all of this. And finally, he identified the pillar of technology. The pillar of technology as being able to drive the growth in all the other four pillars, because technology has become, as I said, affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. And your university is rich in the repository of knowledge related to technology and to various disciplines. When you take all of this together and you put them together and you bring the convergence of communications, computation, and sensor technologies together to create solutions, whether it be to fulfill the demand, the pillar of infrastructure, the pillar of the demographic dividend, the pillar of socioeconomic progress, then a new India will be born. And your generation and the generations to follow will benefit. And in all of this, we need to remember that every one of the innovations of the future has to be aligned with sustainable development goals. Today, we launched, along with the Australian Trade and Commerce, we launched a circular economy hackathon challenge. I would urge all the students who are listening to this to participate in that challenge. Why is circular economy so important? It is so very important because, as the great Mahatma Gandhi said, there is enough for fulfilling any man's need, but that is not enough to fulfill any man's greed. And that is what we have all become, unfortunately. We have become very greedy, and that has created a whole lot of unnecessary wastage in our planet. And that waste is creating a lot of problems. Problems of climate change, problems of clean air not being available to breathe, clean water not being available for drinking. Our rivers are getting polluted through chemical pollutants. Plastic is being created. A lot of waste is being created, and electronic waste is being created. How do you ensure a circular economy that recycles, reuses, or re-energizes this to be less wasteful and to be more user-friendly and create the climate that we need to survive on this beautiful planet? We all are living in a beautiful planet with so much biodiversity. It is upon us and upon you, my dear friends, to see that this planet is preserved for the future, for your generation, for your children and your grandchildren, so that they experience a better world for all of us to live in. So we all need to do our little bit to leave a ding in the universe, as Steve Jobs said. And innovation, entrepreneurship, scientific thinking, research, problem solving are the only ways that we can do it. I'm sure every one of you will be very, very successful in your initiatives. And remember, when you become an entrepreneur or become a startup, it is not an easy journey. It is a journey of ups and downs, but it is always a journey which has an up, and the up goes upper and upper as you go along the journey. In the words of the great Abdul Kalam, there is no word called fail in the language of a startup or an entrepreneur. The word fail means the first attempt in learning. So you only have either success or you have the first attempt in learning. And my dear friends, I learned this poem a long time back. Success is failure turned inside out, a silver tint in the clouds of doubt. You never know how close you are. You may be near while it seems so far. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. I'm sure, my dear friends, my young innovators and my dear students, you will all be extraordinarily successful in your life. I pray that you succeed in your life's journey and make an impact to the universe around you. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to participate in this particular conversation. And I wish that all of you are safe and be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sparing your valuable time. And actually, you have inspired many young minds, and now our university community has a special privilege to hear you. And special thanks to you, sir, on behalf of our university. And now I request Professor Devi Prasad, coordinator of a distinguished lecture series, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor Charmati. It is my very pleasant duty to thank the wonderful, inspiring speech by Dr. Ramanan, who is the CEO of Atal Innovation Mission. He, in his talk, brought to my mind something I studied long ago in biological physics, about 36 years ago, where the author had quoted a poet. He said, "Creativity is making the improbable inevitable." So that's what he was driving today, that our approach to innovation should be to make what was improbable inevitable, so that India stands tall and head and shoulders above the rest, so that we can bring them up to our level and do it in a selfless way. And it was an extremely inspiring talk, sir. So thank you very much for a wonderful, inspiring talk. And it's extremely gratifying to listen to such inspiring talk, even though as an old goat I may be beyond inspiring or innovating, but it's still wonderful to hear such an enthusiastic talk from somebody who is so successful. Thank you very much, sir. It's my pleasure to thank you. And let me also thank our Vice Chancellor, who is a positivity incarnate and who has been out front leading all of us. and he has been helping us to organize this function. And I can tell you, the university completed 35 years yesterday, and I have been associated with the university for 34 and a half of them. So I can say with a bit of a confidence that our Vice Chancellor has been really leading us up front, in front of doing things, and pushing us very strongly towards doing things differently. And this, your talk gels beautifully with his method of working. So it's my pleasure to thank Professor Gurmeet Singh. Thank you, Professor Gurmeet Singh ji, for everything you have done the past 3 years and more to come in the next 2. Thank you very much. Let me thank Professor Balakrishnan and Professor Jain, our 2 directors who have been there handholding several of us in our efforts to walk the extra mile. And I will fail in my duty if I don't thank Professor Charumati, who has done most of the hard work for getting this organized today. So a special thanks to Professor Charumati. And I thank all my colleagues who have taken the trouble to be with us, to listen to a wonderful speech and take the message forward to all of our students. And let me also tell my colleagues, this is the first of a series of lectures we are planning this year. And we'll have quite a few more inspiring talks like this, which will push us to reach new heights. After all, we are a very young university. We are in the juvenile stage, if one would say, in 35 years. So we have a lot more to go. And thank you very much. Thank you, every one of you. Each one of you I thank from the bottom of my heart who have been here with us and making this function a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Special thanks, sir. Thank you, Vice
Thank you very much,
Chancellor.
everybody, particularly Dr. Ramanan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll definitely come to your university sometime, and at the earliest possible opportunity.
Yes, sir. We are ready for launching ACAC.
It's a pleasure to have you anytime. Thank you. We look forward to it.
We look forward to it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.